All right, welcome back to The Change Physician. I am Melissa Cady, the Challenge Doctor, with my co-host, Dr. Kevin Cuccaro. We are coming to you live. If you're seeing this on the Challenge Doctor page or any other pages that Kevin might be doing, it's just being cross-posted. This is actually live on the Change Physician Facebook page. And this is our Saturday Salutations. So we always want to say hi, not just to each other as co-hosts, but to all of you out there and any members of the Change Physician community. If you don't know what that's all about, you can go to thechangephysician.com and join us there, whether you're a physician or a physician ally. We'd love to see you there for any upcoming events or special messages to share with you. Now, you can also find us on YouTube with our live, not live, but our video version of our podcast, which the podcasts are in every place you probably could imagine. And today is really about sharing what's happened in the podcast this past week or upcoming week, and any recent events or thoughts or moments of gratitude we'd like to share with you. So, Kevin, did I save you enough time to get everything done?
I think so. I don't know what it is
doing his thing.
It's doing this. I don't know sometimes, because then I'm like clicking in and it won't let me do the share now that I normally do. Come on, Facebook, man, you're just killing me.
I know.
But I think I'm done, maybe.
Okay, well, I'm going to pull up what's happened this past week while you start cursing at Facebook.
Yeah.
Let's see, this past week, of course, that was the 6th and the 10th of February. We did on Sunday, we had a deep dive about Dr. Sonali Reuter, who is an emergency medicine physician and dear friend of Kevin's, and has become the foodie physician. If you didn't catch the original episodes with her, that's episode 168, 169. That was a week before. But we did a little further discussing behind her back, although we do share the episode with Dr. Sonali.
Tell them we're going to talk behind their back. We don't just do it.
No, we tell them.
Yeah.
So they can always listen in. But then we followed up on really this past Thursday, and what's coming up tomorrow is it was a lengthy enough discussion. We split it into two parts. So it was all about relationship awareness. Anything you want to say about that, Kevin?
No, because it's fresh on my mind from other things that we just talked about before we got on, and I don't want to ruin it too much, but I'm just going to say this. Relationships are probably the most important thing that you can invest your time, energy, and attention in.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the case, make sure you're investing that they're the focus of your time, energy, and attention in, and that'll do it.
Yes, we give plenty of personal and other non-personal examples to give some context and to give some sense of awareness. And we obviously invested a lot of time into these podcasts to really bring to light how important it is to invest your time when you make choices in your relationships. So there you go. That is the podcast review, and some of the upcoming. We'll share the other ones later on when relevant. So, yeah. Anything this past week that you're excited about, or
how well the past week went? It was good. Yeah. I like this. Yeah. Today was really awesome. I don't know why exactly, but
your physiology benefited from your workout.
My physiology benefited from my workout because I tend to work. Right. I've been moving since I've been doing this kettlebell workout for over a year now. I figured out I started this specific workout, I think, on February 6th of last year. So I hit the year mark. Yeah. And for those of you who don't remember, I'm doing a program called Simple and Sinister. Literally is 2 exercises, a kettlebell swing and a kettlebell Turkish get up. It's super simple and it's awesome. And I've moved up. I'm now at a 32 kilogram kettlebell. And my goal, which I said last year, was when I turn 50, which will be next year, in about 13 months, 13 and a half months from now, I should be doing it with a 48 kilo kettlebell, which is 105 pounds. And so I'm kind of excited about that. Anyway, it's been super cool. So I did that today. I did it this morning. I feel really good. I got some reading in finally. And this book, which I think I talked about last week a little bit, this is Dan Pink. He's had a number of different books called Drive and How to Sell or something like this. And This one's pretty short, actually. I mean, it's a hardback or whatever. It's only about 200 pages. If you read a bunch of like cognitive and neuropsychology, there's some overlapping with it, but I've really enjoyed it because I think, as I discussed last Saturday, regret. I guess I'm at the point in my life now where you're starting these shifting and you start looking at these past things and regret. And I'm trying to figure out, well, how do you use things that you regret in your past to actually improve your future, which is really the key thing about regret, and which I like about this book he focuses on as well, is that anybody who says that they're going to live without regrets is lying. And I would add, if they're somehow actually living without regrets, that is, they're actually not learning, and you will be doomed to make the same mistakes over and over again. So really the key is then, well, how do you take this stuff and how to apply it? And so I've been enjoying that. And just like most of the reading, it kind of overwhelms me, because then I think makes me think of another book. So while this morning, I'm like, oh my God, that reminds me of something out of this book. So then I had to pull this book in, and then I was cross-referencing that. So it it's fun. And then the week itself was just, it was just good. I just can't say enough. It was a good week.
Well, you know what? I got to say that you probably have a much more astute awareness about things with the level of reading that you do, which is awesome.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, long ago, I think we talked about doing an episode. I think there's two ways of living life. It's like either the Forrest Gump route or there's the Socrates route.
Yeah.
And they both can work. I think Forrest Gump route only works for people like Forrest Gump that are kind of optimistic and things sort of fall into place. If you just sort of stumble, I think more often people stumble through life completely unaware and then go, well, why is my life the way it is? And it's because you were so unaware. Versus really Socrates and that quote, the unexamined life is not worth living. It's really important to me is to learn. And the more I read about kind of how stuff works, about the person, the human, it just provides a greater depth on things. There's some detriment to that. I don't want to get into it right now. Actually, I think we did some episode on that when you there's a lot of awareness, things can get a little bit weird. But I do love reading, and but it does get a little overwhelming, because just like I said, I start looking at this. I'm like, well, it makes me think of this. And then you look at regret, and like kind of the flip side of regret is self-actualization. They're not different. It's actually two sides of the same coin. And so it gets a little overwhelming. Sometimes I literally cannot pick up a book. So I'm like, if I'm going to read for enjoyment, like strictly I don't want to turn my brain off, I'm going to try to find some fluffy fiction book to read.
Yeah. Well, you reminded me of that poster I brought up in our recent episode.
Oh, yeah.
There's another quote that says, the older I get, the more I realize I don't know things. Like, the less I realize I know, or something like that.
Yeah. And that's, there's so much to go into that, right?
Yes.
It's like your expanding level of awareness. Well, this goes back to medical education. Like we've talked about this before, right? The more you know, the more you recognize that you don't know. And that's sort of like the problem.
Yeah. That's where the wisdom is.
That's where the wisdom is. And that's, I think gets lost in the picture, folks out there, is literally is the more you start learning about anything, specifically about medicine, is you start seeing all the stuff that you don't know, and you're aware of the stuff that you don't know, which is absolutely crucial. Versus people, oh, this is all easy, but you don't know it, so you're not aware of it. Then you start running into some problems. But awareness is huge. And then the recognition. It's like there's this never-ending journey. The more you start learning, and the more you see you don't know, it can get a little bit overwhelming, because you're like, I don't have enough years to learn all this stuff.
Well, to segue back to regret and all these other things, and to tie it into fitness, I figured I'd finish off with just my little regret of letting myself go out of my routine of workouts and stretching. When I went through all of my outdoor activity, trying to like landscape stuff on my own, and we don't have to go into the whole pain conversation, but I've had, you know, I really have mainly pain when I wake up in the morning, and even during the night, if I wake up in the middle of the night, it's something I've never experienced before. And so I realized that I get better throughout the day. And when I stretch, it turns out my hamstrings don't stretch beyond like 50 degrees. They're super uber tight. And the moment I get them to stretch out where I can bend over, touch my toes, I don't have back pain. So that's one thing. So I need to get back to my routine of a variety of movement and some stretching and just overall movement that's not always lugging just boulders around. So I got a piece of equipment in yesterday that I'm super uber excited about. And I thought the relevancy of this to people out there is having an awareness of what works for you. Like, what is it? What kind of piece of equipment is right for you? You know, is it, you know, do you love being on a bike? I'm not so crazy about it. I'll do it for warm up or modifying if I have an injury or something out, you know, it's just for a little while, but day in, day out, it will drive me nuts. I've never liked being confined and held into something. I like to be able to feel like I'm just like running or moving. And so there's a piece of equipment that I'll share here on the screen here in a second that is like my favorite thing. But to set myself up for success, I mean, the best piece of equipment for anyone is the one you're going to use frequently. And not just hang your clothes on. So I realize through the years that I love variety. I love having that freedom of motion, like you're running on the ground or in the air. And just being out in nature. So I have a sunroom, and so that gives me a sense of being outside. I can open the windows, I can hear the birds, I can, you know, just, I feel free and sunlight. And I can play music. I can even like charge my phone in this thing if I wanted to while I'm doing it. But all those things are going to set me up for success because I literally can walk out the back door into the sunroom right after waking up if I want to start my morning routine and just get on that thing and listen to something or watch something.
So show it.
I'm going to. And I go like, stop talking.
You can talk, but let them see. So otherwise they're like, what are you talking about?
Okay. Can you see it?
There you go.
Okay. So this is called an AMT. It's an adaptive motion trainer. I think that's the acronym, what that means, by Precor. And I'm not affiliate for Precor or anything like that. There was a big like sale. And so I was like, oh, I got to get this. Because my husband, it just turns out that he and I, it's the one piece of equipment in a gym over the years I realized that we both are drawn to. And it's just not a lot of setup. I mean, if you need to make something convenient, easy to get on and off, not a lot of prep time when it comes to, you know, doing, you know, your workouts and putting a whole bunch of garb on and stuff. I mean, you could get on this naked, I guess, but it's probably not what's going to happen.
That's your backyard, right? There's nobody should be
well,
looking
yeah,
at.
no one's really gonna watch, but I mean, you can be skimpy on this, I guess. And you just, you know, go at it, and you have the ability to put your drink right there. You could put like a little iPad or a phone and watch some movie or video and or listen to music. So it's got programs, got your heart rate, you can see where you put your hands to get the heart rate. So just everything about it is just so exciting, because I know workouts don't sound exciting to a lot of people, but it's the one piece of equipment I've thought that this would be the best piece to have. And I realized it is like 500 pounds or something crazy. And it took like 3 guys to like bring it into the sunroom. So you really don't want it up on a second story if you can avoid it. So it just made sense to have it in the sunroom. So that is my exciting piece of equipment. May not be for everyone, but set yourself up for success. Like find all the things that make you happy and put it all in one place. And
so we'll need to check in with you in
Yeah.
6 months about like, how is your AMT going?
Yes. Well, that I'm actually planning after our recording, I'm planning on getting on it for the very
There you
first
go.
time.
There
So
you go.
yeah. that's my exciting adventure. I know that's like so thrilling.
I think it is. And you mentioned like the big problem is, and people buy exercise equipment and they don't use it.
Mhm.
So buy exercise equipment that you're going to use. And then I would also then add what we had talked about off air is I bought a Precor treadmill about 13 years ago. And when I bought it, then what I did was I'm going to make sure I use it every day. I even think I said I have to use it every day and I have to go at least a mile every day.
Mhm.
And then once you get into the habit of doing it, it's good. You have the added benefit because you already know, like I bought mine after I was deployed and I've been using a treadmill.
Mm.
And I'm like, I really like the treadmill. So then I got the treadmill. And you and Corey already know that you like this alternative motion.
Adaptive motion trainer.
Oh, adaptive motion
Oh,
trainer.
so here's a point is that people ask, well, was it a Stairmaster? Is it an elliptical or what is it? So it's like, it's a low impact. To me, it's the lowest impact with the most exertion you can get. So from a personal trainer standpoint, like, you can start as low or as high as you want to, but the resistance obviously creates an enormously difficult workout. But you can go up and down only, like a Stairmaster. You can go forward, back and forth, not with the same full kind of stride as an elliptical, but enough where you could pretty much say you're kind of just doing that. But it literally looks like two circles when you look at the motion of each pedal. If you're going to do the like pretend like you're running in the air, it is like by far like my favorite piece of equipment. And so that it's hard to explain exactly what it is, but it's
you can do both though. It looks like you can do the running thing and you can do a treadmill type action. I'm looking at the website right now and there's somebody squatting on this thing and doing like leg lifts.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of stuff you can do with this thing. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So adaptive motion training, I have a very strong belief in variety. So this is a representation of that core belief.
Yeah, it looks kind of fun. It makes me think of those. Have you seen those bikes that are like the Strider bikes?
Oh, yes.
Where it's instead of riding a bike, you're actually doing that same runny thing, and it looks like they're running through the air while they're on a bicycle, which is hard to kind of imagine. But it's kind of like that. I always thought that looked really fun.
Yeah. Here's the other thing: no electricity.
Oh.
So your own motion drives the electrical component. So you don't need to plug it in anywhere.
So if you're charging your phone, that's you.
That's me.
Oh, that's super cool.
Isn't it?
Yeah. And then I'm guessing the resistance, there's a dial or something. So it's just
yep. In the middle, you see there's some you didn't even see it. Let me just point it out. If you look at the middle part of the console, there's a green and orange button at the bottom, and between there it says OK, and then an up and down arrow. You're just moving the intensity up with, oh, sorry, not there. That's not for that. You can't see it. It's actually like circular little dials. You just kind of flip up to go up or down on elevation or on the intensity.
And those are not electric.
Those are all non-electric. Oh, I mean, it's driven electrically by the power you give it.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
So you have to actually be moving in order to change the intensity.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll power on, the display will come on, and then you can, change the levels.
Wow. That looks pretty cool.
Yeah. So this is my getting spoiled Christmas gift to myself or us.
Well, you deserve it. As I said, in 6 months we'll check back with you and see how far.
Yeah, no, I'm I put on 5 or 10 pounds, and so I gotta just it's always a good check when you start feeling your clothes, or you're like, you're kind of pushing the size that you're wearing, and you don't want to tear anything you're wearing. So now it's like check-in time. Got to get back on the, my regret was falling off the wagon a little bit. I've never really done that, to be honest. I've always been pretty religious about my workouts, but I gave myself an excuse. all the yard work. So anyway, well, why don't you take
inactive? You weren't inactive. You weren't inactive during that time, right? Yeah,
I was not inactive. I was just putting my strength and flexibility suffered tremendously on I'll just say my cardio and flexibility suffered tremendously.
All right.
I was relatively strong enough to do yard work, but not the same. But anyway, well, why don't you take us out, since I just talked about myself for the last 10 minutes?
Sure. Well, thank you all for joining us for another Saturday Salutations. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I hope you also had an amazeballs weekend, since I haven't used the word amazeballs today. Get out and exercise, move, see your friends, do meaningful things. And until next week, stay well.
Take care.